Welcome, Kayak Anglers. You are tuning into the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network, kayak fishing's best network of shows with great hosts covering all things kayak fishing, bringing you special guests covering topics such as shore fishing, river trips, gear reviews, angler profiles, tournament news, and more. Sit back, relax. Let's do this.
Hey guys, welcome to the Rusty Hook Kayak Fishing Podcast. I got a great show for you lined up today with a very special guest who I've spent a lot of time with on and off the water over the years. We both got old quick, and I'm looking forward to chatting with him about the topic of today's show, which is when Karens speak, should you listen? Let's do this.
Welcome to the Rusty Hook Podcast. Raw and unfiltered kayak fishing content, streaming on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and X. Bringing you gear reviews and candid interviews from the industry's best, angler profiles, tournament news, plus legendary knowledge from kayak fishing's OGs and rising stars. So, grab that cold drink, pull up a chair, and get settled in. Now here's John Rapp.
All right, guys. Hey, it's been a couple weeks since I've done a show. I've been working to get this show up and running for the last couple weeks. Billy and I have tried to get people involved to come onto the show. We just couldn't get it to work, so I reached out to him last night. Said, "Hey, man, just record this. I want to get this done up and put it on." Look forward to next week's show when I do my Halloween special trick or treat. What should you get your angler tricks or treats for the following year? A lot of good special there. We're going to bring on some of the guys that have done that show before. But I want to tell you about my guest here a little bit. Before he comes on, and I got to watch, because he only lives about 10 miles from me. So I can't say too many mean things about him, because if I do, I'll get pounded to the ground. So what I can tell you about this man is his history. He has followed the walk of life as I have. This gentleman, his name is Billy Persinger. A lot of the locals that listen around here may know of him. What they might remember about him back in his youth, when he was probably 16, 17, 18, maybe younger, the dude was like 140 pounds, could bench press 500. I may be exaggerating a little bit, but we'll let him tell that story. I'm now going to bring on my brother from another mother, Bill Persinger. Hey, Bill, welcome to the show.
Hey, good evening, John. Good afternoon.
Hey, man, so I'm hoping that we're recording correctly, guys. What you can't see is when I'm looking at Billy, he's upside down. And we've been trying to figure out why I'm seeing
like
him
most of
upside
my
down.
life, huh?
Yeah. So, hey, man, introduce yourself to everybody here and tell them a little bit about you.
All right, John. Yeah, my name's Bill Persinger. This has been my home for years and years. I'm now nearing the old age of 60. So, of course, during my my law enforcement career, it took me around the state for. I've worked the whole state at some point in time, assigned at 4 different districts. Had a career as a DNR law enforcement officer for 27 years and retired as a district commander at the rank of captain out of Farmington, District 1. And that would have been about 2016.
Hey, is that up Farmington? Farmington, is that up at where the game center is for West Virginia?
No, that's French Creek.
French Creek, okay.
Yeah, that's French Creek. Farmington is a little town outside of Fairmont where Joe Manchin's family is from, and they moved the district office there. So that's where the district office was. It entailed all the northern counties. I think there were 13 of them, from Harrison County all the way to Hancock over to Preston and all those areas. But it was the district that had the most counties in the state of West Virginia. So I was blessed to work that district and work with those people. Of course, blessed to work this whole state throughout my career and be involved in a lot of cases and meet a lot of wonderful people like you. I mean, you were in law enforcement as well, so I worked with you. I worked with a lot of your colleagues throughout the years. Even old John Foster back in the day when he was
Oh
still a
yeah,
trooper. And then he
yeah,
become the deputy U.S. Marshal
yeah.
for the Southern District. So I've had
I
a
had the
lot of good acquaintances in my life because of law enforcement. Yes.
I had the pleasure to work with that man when he was our marshal, and I got to work at the courthouse for a few years. It was definitely an honor to work with John. Yeah,
John's
man.
fantastic. I got
Yeah.
to take him. The fun fact: I got to take him for his first spotlighting patrol as a trooper one night, and we're running an old strip mine, blacked out, and he says, "How do you know if you're not going to go over the mountain?" I said, "Well, I've been up here enough to know the roads, so trust me, I'm not going to put you over the mountain."
Yeah. I mean, back in those days, there wasn't much when we were young. Night vision was like if you were lucky to be able to get it. It was first generation, and it wasn't very good.
Yeah, and if the district had one set that was a scope, it wasn't actually night vision. So
Right.
obviously, I didn't have it.
No, no. Hey, man. So I appreciate you coming on and talking to us and telling us a little bit about it. Hey, now what you are still like the world record holder for that weightlifting event
Well,
back in your youth?
I I started really getting into weight training in high school, and then as I went through college, I got a little better at it, and I won the state USPF championship in like 1986, 87 timeline, and later on went on to start competing in the drug-free Natural Athletic Strength Association, and went to the nationals in 91, 92, and 93. I was runner up in 91, won 92 and 93.
Now you only weighed like what 150 or 160 pounds and bench press like 450 or something.
156, and my best lift was 409. Yeah.
See, that's awesome, bro.
Yeah.
156 pounds can push over 400. That's amazing.
Yeah, I was blessed. I wasn't very good at squatting. I wasn't very good at deadlifting, but I could sure push a lot of weight for some reason.
That's outstanding. Well,
Yeah.
speaking of pushing weight, there's a lot of Karens out there, and we've seen some videos over the years, guys and gals. This is what today's show is about the Karens of the water world out there, and stuff like that. So I asked Bill, let's talk about this. Where do we stand at, and what should you do to avoid actually being uh, breaking the law and possibly actually trespassing on someone's property. So we got a couple videos we want to share with you guys to look at and talk about, what legs you have to stand on here, and if these anglers were in the right or they were in the wrong. So we're going to start off with a couple young boys that they were crappie fishing along the back of a dock, and I cut the video short just to get to the elements of basically what I see as criminal activity on the part of the lady on the other end. But here, we'll pull this up, let everybody watch it, and we'll discuss it.
We're just fishing. We're not doing anything wrong. We're just fishing. We haven't hit anything. And if we do, stuff happens. Can't be... Man, we're fishing.
So again, I want to point out, there was probably 3 or 4 minutes of interaction between to this point. You can see her walking along the dock there.
I swear to God, if she does, we actually have to leave if she does, because that's just not okay. Oh man! Once she jumps in, just head out, okay?
Apparently, she threatened to do this, and she does.
Okay. No more fish. Yep, no more fish.
There's a big
And right
part.
there, she states right there, Billy, no more fish where they were fishing at.
Right.
It's a little unacceptable, but we'll leave.
Well, first of all, I think it's a whole lot unacceptable. But Bill, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, you know, I've seen a lot of that as far as video wise, and run into some of it in my career. But the first question I would have to ask about that body of water is it a navigable waterway? Okay.
Correct.
I mean, if that's a body of water that goes into a let's say a neighborhood and dead ends in that neighborhood, it's hard to say navigable, right? Because where does their boundaries and all that begin versus, like a fishing pond? I just can't come and jump in your fishing pond and do whatever I want to do. But the law basically says if it is a navigable waterway, you have the right to navigate it and participate in lawful hunting and fishing, trapping in those areas, and with the right of not being molested in that hunt, fish, whatever trapping. Meaning, should someone interfere with you while you're lawfully doing one of these activities in the state of West Virginia, you are committing a crime yourself and can be arrested for interfering with a lawful fisherman or hunter.
So in that instance, when we talk lawfully, let's say law enforcement, DNR, some type of officer comes out there, they get called out by Karen there because you're
Right.
fishing and you won't leave. They're going to come. They're going to interview. They're going to do an investigation. They're going to ask you, sir, do you have a fishing license? Yes, sir, I do. Sir, is your boat registered properly? They're going to look at it. They're going to see the registration numbers. They're going to make sure everything's proper. You're going to provide paperwork. Yes, you do. They may even ask you for your safety equipment, your
More than
whistle,
likely,
your
yes.
forms,
Yes.
things of that nature. If you're absolutely right and you're on the water without any impropriety, I suspect at this point he's going to then look after interviewing both of those parties and seeing that she's wet, ask how she got wet, and she jumped in the water. In my point of view, and I'm sure as you have stated, they were lawful, and she's going to get cited for uh, a misdemeanor violation of interfering with their fishing.
Correct. And that video would help tremendously, obviously, in evidence when the officer would take this so-said Karen to court.
Exactly. Roger that. So that's one video, and we got another one. And Billy and I both want to point out, guys, if you're running cameras, and during the time I took to investigate and prepare for this show, I've seen a lot of podcasters or video guys out there who love to instigate or love to um uh, what's the word I'm
Bait.
looking for?
Bait.
Bait the person on the bank to act
Right.
like an ass.
Right.
You're if you're filming it, if you're out there uh, enjoying your time on the water and trying to record like I do a lot of your catches so you can share them later, on video during the week. That, hey, this is what I did up to Susquehanna. I cast out there. I caught a nice fish. Here it is. Take a look at it. Talk about your experience. Don't create clickbait for sensation. Don't be a problem causer. And with that interlude there, I'm going to bring up a very high profile Iaconelli, pro fisherman, and what he had happened to him here with this next video.
here. Okay. I've been fishing 30.
Let me rewind here back. Start all over. Okay. Woman comes
Excuse
down
me?
the dock here.
I'm sorry. Sorry about that. I didn't know it bothered you. Sorry about that. I won't. Yeah, I won't. I won't be back.
So you see the dock
You're
they're
welcome.
far in. Fast forward, he's there now. It's about a minute and a half later. The same woman walks back down. 5 houses down from where he was
Oh,
at.
I thought that was yours. You know, it's. I'll leave, but it's my right to fish here. Okay. I've been fishing 30 years. I'm a homeowner on the water myself. I would never damage anybody's property.
I know, but I don't need lines.
I would never get my line. I'm really good, trust me.
You got caught a minute ago with a crab pot, probably.
No, I didn't. I didn't get caught.
Just away from the piers and the boats.
You can call the cops. I'm not leaving now. I was going to leave nice before, but I'm not leaving now. You can call the
Fine,
cops.
I'll call the DNR.
Call the cops. Call DNR. Call the government. Call Biden. Probably love them.
No, not
Okay. Sounds like it.
There's plenty of places around here to fish. I don't know why you only need to do it 6 foot.
Listen, the bass live under the docks.
I know for the bass.
Okay.
And how about you go back to the woods?
Okay. Bye, Karen.
I gotta giggle. Like you could tell he got fired up there at the end.
Yeah, I think he got pushed a little far eventually. Yep.
I mean, started off very professional as he is, very polite. She come down. She asked him not to fish there. Oh, what? I'm sorry, I won't fish here. Slides up to the next dock as we watched, and the same woman comes back down and says, "Hey, I don't want you fishing there either." Oh, wait, I thought you owned that. No, I own it all. We own it all. Okay, well, I think at that point, but as we break that down, Billy, what did you see?
Well, first of all, I think he handled her really well in both situations. At first, he tried to diffuse it. You know, he knew he was in the right. He was legally doing what he was doing. But in order to diffuse it and be the adult in the situation, he says, okay, I'll move on. And he moves on down to the next spot. And then what does she do? She comes down there and starts on him again. And at that point, I think he had more patience than I did that I would have had, because I don't know that I would tolerate too much of it. I would have probably been like him earlier and say, hey, call DNR, bring him down here, and let's see who's in the wrong, and let her take a lick for interfering.
I was where I was wondering. I don't know if I would have psyched the woman, possibly due to the fact that not only did she run him off one area, but the other. I'd have to look at that video. Like, luckily he had it, and I'd be interested in seeing if any action was taken, if any law enforcement was involved, or if somebody took the video. Because you and I both know all they have to do is to pull this video. There's evidence of a crime right there, and
Right.
they can act on it. They could go find out who that homeowner is and cite them, use the video as evidence. Now, Ike and Ellie might not say, I don't want to get involved. I don't want to press charges, and
Right.
it would probably get dismissed because then you don't have a victim.
Correct.
But yeah, that's interesting. I liked how he handled it. I got tickled how he threw a little liberalism at the end.
Oh, yeah.
But,
Yeah. Go call Biden.
Yeah, Karen and all that. But I believe at that point his patience had run out, and he flared up a little bit. But, yeah, so let's take a quick break, and we'll come back and we'll talk about where everybody's rights are, where they stand at, and we'll go from there. So stand by.
This is the Rusty Hook Podcast, supporting people and companies that support us. Feel free kayaks, paddle, pedal, or power, something for everyone. DuBro Fishing, manufacturer of fishing and marine products for freshwater and saltwater anglers. Big Lake Bait Company, Texas's #1 custom soft plastics bait maker. And Ace Adventure Resort, West Virginia's #1 go-to outdoor destination with whitewater, zip lining. You're tuned in to the Rusty Hook Podcast. More than a podcast, but a way of life. From the biggest lakes to the smallest creeks, we are all things kayak fishing. Refresh that drink, turn up the volume, and feel the excitement. It's time for the second half of the show. Live, raw, unfiltered. Now, let's join the one and only Big Daddy.
Hey, Big Daddy John Rapp back here with you guys. This is a pre-recorded video, and I hate it, man. I hate it because I know if Billy and I were doing live right now, that we would be able to laugh at and watch and see all the comments that everybody's already thrown up from our conversations up to this point. I want to thank everybody that's hanging out with us the last 20 minutes here as we've been talking about activity on the water that all of us at some point or another have run into. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on Big Pappy, uh, Billy Persinger. Please, I hope to God, please, brother, don't let me run into him out there and he wears me out someday. But here he is. Billy, welcome back to the show, buddy.
Hey, brother.
Yeah, man. So appreciate you hanging out with us here on the Rusty Hook Kayak Fishing Podcast, part of the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. Hopefully, we get Paddle and Fin up and running and moving again, but I got to do that a little bit more on my own too to get that happen. I've been a little lazy this year, not getting things done like I need to. But I want to thank Billy for taking a moment to come on to today's show and helping us talk about where we stand, what we need to do to be right, so when we are approached by somebody out there that we are 100% in the right. So, thank you, brother.
Yes, sir.
Oh, man, you're full of words.
Well, I mean, brother, you know, I've dealt with a lot of people that well, let's face it, there's a lot of people out there that think they understand and know law, right? And they'll take one piece of the law and believe they're correct without knowing the whole part of the law. And you know as well as I do with our background, the whole concept of the law and how it's written is the most important thing, especially when you go in front of a magistrate or a judge, plain and simple. And throughout my career, I know I've had circumstances where, for instance, on the South Branch of the Potomac River, okay, people love to kayak fish the South Branch of the Potomac River, and by kayak, it's a navigable river, okay. So kayakers will go up to, smoke hole and float down or whatever they do. Well, sometimes you'll go through pieces of property that a landowner actually owns the stream bed.
Water. Yeah.
Yeah, because they own property on this side of the stream and they own property on the other side of the stream, and their deed shows the stream bed as their property. So there's a lot of confusion with that too, because I know we had one instance in Pendleton County that this guy, he stocked his segment of the river, okay, and probably illegally put in ways to keep the fish in his area.
Yeah, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. Because you can't inhabit free passage through navigable waters. And if so, I mean, you really open yourself up. I've seen people string barbed wire across the river and all that kind of thing. I
think I want to say that's happened here locally. I had an incident over toward Muddlety, back of Muddlety Creek.
Okay.
I was fishing back there, and a guy come out and approached me. And, the Rapp family has property back here, and he's like, "Hey, can't fish here." I'm like, why not? And I was actually trying to see if there was any smallmouth in there. He's like, "Well, I've stocked some trout back here. I don't want you fishing back here." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Trout's not very long in Muddlety Creek.
No. not the they're in there. I actually had a small trout eat or try to eat a lizard was I was dragging her across,
Is that right?
and I did. I almost I actually it was she was probably about 9 inches long, and she wasn't no bigger than my two fingers. But she was
Wow. That
a
sounds like
little.
quality water then, in wherever that location was, for sure.
It's back up Mudley Valley Road, all the way toward the going back to
Uh-huh.
Tioga.
Uh-huh.
Um, I don't know if you know Tina Rapp back there where the Rapp farm is
Yeah.
back there, just
Yes.
past that. Um,
Okay.
that water back behind where Spinks still's back there, the old Spinks family.
Oh yeah. You got the Spinks Farm, you got Henry, you
Yeah,
got all that bunch
Henry.
back there. His
It's right.
brothers.
It's one to say back past him is where all that took place. It's been
Right.
about 7, 8 years ago, but yeah. But anyway, continue. But and I want to also show what Billy was talking about right there, guys and gals, where I cut him off. He was talking about property in the water. You know, the lines in the water. Now, if you're fishing or floating, a lot of you guys out there know this app, and it's called Onyx, and it
Mm.
shows when you're out hunting or fishing who owns the property that you may be on via GPS. So if you have a parcel of property that you've got written permission to hunt on, or if you're floating and fishing an area and you're floating through someone's property line, you'll know where you're at. And let's get back to what Billy was talking about now. Again, Billy, I apologize for cutting you off, but
Hey, no,
Onyx,
you're fine. No,
Onyx is a good program.
that's what I was going to say. I know the former captain Larry Case. He's an outdoor writer, as you know, for like 5 states. He was a captain in District 4. We often spend time together down at Sweet Springs in Monroe County, and we're members of the Back Creek Hunting Club, several thousand acres of desolate country and mountains. But he's got that onyx, and anywhere we go, we can check and make sure we are on the club and not going on to someone else's land. Now, what do we know about that? It is responsible for any hunter or fisherman to know where they're at all times,
Exactly.
right? It's extremely responsible. However, in West Virginia, the law states if the land is not posted, fenced, or enclosed, then you can't be held responsible criminally for trespass or hunting or fishing without permission unless that occurs, right? So, but it's still responsible as a sportsman to know where you're at, and it's also responsible for the landowner to mark their property as well. Some say, why burden the landowner? The hunter fisherman should know. I tend to agree with them a bit.
I do. Yeah.
But because I mean, it is a burden to a landowner to go buy a bunch of signs and go around 200 acres and put them up or paint whatever.
Especially
What is
with
it?
rough terrain too.
Rough
Yeah.
terrain. It could be elderly, right? And then, or now you can what? You can paint 3 purple stripes on a tree, and that's considered posted land now. I think they posted that. They passed that law at some point. So, however, I still think if you're a sportsman, you need to know where you're at. And although you might not be criminally liable for something, you still put a black eye on our sportsmen in this state. And at the rate that we are losing sportsmen in this state, the hunters, and the fishermen, the trappers, I mean, are dwindling every year. And
Right.
we don't want that. We don't want that because numbers are voice, and voice is important to sportsmen. So um, it's tough to see us lose this generation, this younger generation, that their parents aren't taking them out in the woods hunting and fishing, and it's mainly because probably their grandparents are raising them, and they're too old to take them out. So you
I
see what I
think
mean?
that has a lot to do with it too.
Yeah.
Really do.
Did I go
So
off topic here for you?
no, it's all relates. Hunting, trapping. It's all about fishing, and it's about you know, the topic is about how you deal with Karens,
Right.
but you may
Right.
have old Papaw come out and and say, "Hey, I don't want you on my property," and that could be land or water. Now, let's get back to your story with the Potomac. You were talking about floating and where you can come across property lines,
Right.
and Onyx does have an app for fishing too,
Okay.
and I'm sure it shows the property lines as you're floating, and you know where you're at. Um, I think where we were going to go with that was where, let's say since we're a kayak show, kayak fishing specific.
Right.
If you're kayak fishing and you're paddling or you're motoring up a body of water, we know in my boat I can float in 3 to 4 inches of water with my big 300-pound body and another 150-pound of gear.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
so if I'm still able to float it and I am in the water, am I right?
Yes. That's short answer. Yes. You're navigating that waterway with, and it's not like a dead end into their pond, right?
Right.
Right. You can pass through navigating without touching the stream bed. Yeah, other than bounce off a couple rocks once in a while. But according to the law, West Virginia Lands and Streams owns all navigable river in West Virginia. All right. So although people have boundaries on stream beds, they don't own the water. They own the bed of the stream. Okay. To like, I think it's the high water mark, if that makes sense. So the question here then becomes, are you floating through this area or are you walking through this area?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that would be the key, because if a lot of kayak anglers will park and they'll go upstream so they can float back down and not have to have a second person to help portage them, or go from one spot to another, leave a vehicle, then two of you go back up, fish down, and do that. So if you're fishing by yourself, the guys will normally go upstream. So I think we need to listen to what Billy's saying here. If you're going upstream and you come to a set of shoals that you have to get out and walk up to
Yeah,
get to the next pool, by law, if that property belongs to someone, you're wrong.
yeah. I think it's obviously everything always comes down to what the magistrate judge decides on, right?
The interpretation
Or
of the law.
the
Yeah.
interpretation and or a jury. Sure, should you say? Should you ask a jury trial? Should you be arrested for such? But yes, the simple story is if you can float it and not touch the stream bed and walk across somebody's property, you're pretty safe in the state of West Virginia.
Yeah.
Now, you know, let me throw a kinker in for you because back in the 1700s,
Right.
all waterways were considered navigable because trappers walked the
Practice.
waterways. They
Yes.
navigated the land via foot to do trapping everywhere, right? So in the 1700s, they believed that all waterways were navigable, whether it be on boat or foot. I don't know. I don't think we've had a case. At least I don't know of any cases. You know, I've been out since 16, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I don't know that we have any cases that has set firmly or made a state Supreme Court case that decided which way that goes. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, for
Because
instance, the Greenbrier. All right.
right.
Uh, Jimmy J liked to stock all of that water in the Greenbrier. Up there's a stream that goes up through the Greenbrier over there, as you know, and people were coming in on boats and fishing it. And it was stock fish that the Greenbrier Resort put in. Obviously, that was a huge complaint with the
Right.
resort versus and District 4 had to deal with that. I'm not really sure how they handled it. That was before Senator Justice was governor. So I'm not sure how that worked out, but to be quite honest with you, I think the sportsman would have a valid argument about navigable waters.
I do too. Yeah.
Now, as a sportsman, I want to add this, John, if I may.
Sure.
There's certain places, people are privately stalking, you know. Do you want to be that guy or gal that goes in there and catches the stuff that they paid for and put in there? And then it's really an iffy situation versus out there catching the wild stuff that you want to catch, So the more you are responsible as a sportsman, the better it's going to be for our sport and our way of life.
It boils down to integrity.
Yes, it does.
Don't let anybody question yours. Be always put yourself in the right position. Appear to be right and be right. There's
Exactly.
no other way to be about it. And
Yeah.
yeah. So let's pull up the West Virginia code since we were
Okay.
talking. Let's see if I can find that West Virginia code. Now, I'm gonna add this here, guys. So this is what the law states, and again, we've all watched over the past years how law can be interpreted. You hear about it all the time with different judges on the federal court system.
Yeah, and the Supreme Court. Yeah.
With interpretation of the law, basically which side of the party line you're in. But it should be pretty black and white if people read it and not try to interpret it and convert it to their thought process. So, but that's the code right there. It's chapter 22A. There is a code in West Virginia that protects you when you're out fishing for being harassed by Karen if you are in the right, if you're doing things right, if you're legal, you're licensed properly, if you have a boat and it's licensed properly and you're carrying all the appropriate equipment. Now, granted, maybe you're not, but if Karen still does what she does, both of you might be walking away with the citation.
This is
So,
true. It's true. And I don't know, John, when I look at your post of the law, I cannot read it. It's so small. Maybe you should read it actually, so they can hear you.
okay, well, it's chapter 22A. It's under the Natural Resources chapter of the West Virginia State Code. And the topic is interference with hunters, trappers, and fishermen. So a person may not willfully obstruct or impede the participation of any individual in any law enforcement or lawful activity of hunting, fishing, or trapping. Any person violating the provisions of this section shall be guilty of a misdemeanor, and upon conviction thereof shall be fined not less than $100 nor more than $500, or imprisoned in the county jail for not less than 10 days,
Or both.
nor more than 100 days, or both, fined and imprisoned. So judges can take that. And if they got a video of you, like the first video, where let's look at the two videos. We'll use this code and interpret how I, as a judge, would look at Karen 1 versus Karen 2. Karen 1 run the mouth off and then jumped in the water and harassed fishermen by no more fish. Hey, she purposely jumped in, scared fish, made their hole unfishable.
Yep. That's interference.
So that is truthfully willful obstruction or impeding the participation of the individual in the lawful activity. He has the opportunity here to fine her $100 minimum or up to $500 maximum, and or give her 10 days minimum in jail up to
100.
100 days. Karen 1, in my opinion, deserves a $500 fine and 10 days in jail because she actually acted on words and harassment and created a physical issue by jumping in the water. So that's me as a judge. That's what I would do.
Well, John, I agree with you because she took action and it
Yeah,
wasn't
action.
just words. Okay. The action is a much more prosecutable offense than just someone words. So number one, she jumped in, she interfered, she did all that. So yeah, I agree with you 100% of what I believe if I was the judge she would get.
If she didn't get the jail time, she'd definitely get the $500 fine.
Definitely.
Uh,
As you know,
now,
I guess it's so expensive to put them in jail anymore, and they don't tend to do it.
yeah,
But
I don't think you and I would. The county wouldn't like you and I here in Nicholas County wouldn't care for us too much if we were magistrates. Their bill would be a little bit high up at the
yeah,
civil
especially
jail.
today, how much it costs. Jeez. Yeah. Now
Well,
Karen too. I
yeah,
mean, she used words. She interfered by that realm, but the fishermen didn't have to comply.
right.
They could have continued fishing and say, "Hey, I hear what you're saying. If you don't like what we're doing, go call the law. Let them come and decide it." And so, although she's up there running her mouth, doing whatever, and saying she owns all of it and what have you, which is a form of interference and obstruction of it. She didn't take a physical act to do anything.
Right.
So that would play, I think, into a court case, I believe.
Yeah, that we both know that when it comes to those actions, when for us to write a ticket or to file a
Criminal complaint.
criminal complaint in court, there has
Mm-hmm.
to be what's considered probable cause. And based on her actions, a very liberal judge may not see probable cause. He
Agreed.
would say, "Hey, words don't mean nothing."
Yeah.
But the fact that she didn't do it but once at one dock, the fisherman uh, kindly obliged and moved up 300, 400 yards to another dock, and then she again walks down from a different home, which I really found was weird. It's like she must have come from that house and run him off, and then went back home. And then
Right.
now you're closer to my home, but and runs him off again or tries to. Yeah, I think Ike and Ellie handled that as well as could be, um, especially if you have a Type A personality and you get tired of people bullshit real quick.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But yeah, she could be charged in my mind. I don't know if a
I
jury of her
agree.
peers. I don't know if a
I
jury
agree.
or a judge might throw that one out.
Well, and sometimes, and you know this as well as anybody, John, in being in law enforcement. Of course, a side note, I think I've been complained on more in my life for writing a warning than I have been actually writing a citation.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know why, because it didn't cost him anything, right? But
Well, if you were like me, it was probably the little bit of a ass chewing you gave him. You gave him a little bit more of an ass chewing because you knew you were going to give him a warning than
well, it's
taking
funny
money
you
out of their
say
pocket.
that. Yeah, there was always that. Listen, I'm going to give you two options. One, I'll write you a ticket, or two, I'm going to chew your ass. Which one you want? Most of them would take the ass chewing, but um, the second one, officers have discretion, right? It is
Right.
not mandated that you arrest somebody, cite somebody, do this. That's officer discretion. The second one would probably, if that's the first offense, I'd probably give her a stern warning, write her a warning, and tell her if she does interfere with any future fishermen in this case, then I will arrest you.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like you guys, like the West Virginia DNR and the West Virginia State Police, I'm sure, we never had enough guys to cover. It's not like, so it's like you go to the office or you go check in and you read the duty log or from the first guy's day, the day shift, and he would type out what he did hour for hour. If he had a complaint called in, he would type in, "I got a complaint from Karen Sue regarding improper fishing on her property." Uh, Responded, told Karen she was in the wrong. Karen Sue, address, phone number.
Issued
Warned
warning,
not.
whatever
Yeah,
action
it
you took.
warned not to repeat this. That way, if you got a call you come on shift and the next guy's like, "Oh, I get a second call from Karen Sue. Billy handled that at 1 p.m. I came out at 3 p.m. Now she's calling at 4, And I just read the duty log where he had his shift and saw that. And then you go out there and like, "Hey, you were warned. This is the second time you've called. Now you're obstructing or whatever, filing a false police report. Here's your citation or your summons. And see you in court." So
There you go. And I know you don't want to turn this into a law enforcement show, but you know, a database. Rarely. I don't know of any database that tracks warnings. Okay, most
I don't think so.
databases track what citations, arrests, and things like that. So
Right.
it would be helpful if there was a database that you do have somebody that have been warned more than once, but you have multiple different officers deal with her. That they could pull a database and say, "Hey, you've been warned 3 times on this. You're not getting warned again." So that might be helpful to the law enforcement realm. But again, this is not a law enforcement show, I'm
Well,
sure.
I'm sure both of us were in supervisory positions. Hell, you were a captain. You were like one of the top 8 guys in the DNR. And I'm sure that you told your district or listen, men, sergeants, first sergeants, tell your guys out there, if you deal with somebody after the second time, no warnings, write them up. Let's put something on the record book, so when somebody runs a criminal inquiry or they do a West Virginia intelligence exchange database check on them, they get all the goodies on them:
Exactly.
insurance, fraud, uh, you know, where they live at, all the everything. We all know that the West Virginia Intelligence Exchange is a huge database pull on just about everything that you've done in your life
Yeah,
if it's on record.
definitely.
So,
And it's so
oh man,
important, John. Um, it's so important that the people who file these complaints that are in the right, okay, that are correct, are vindicated by a law enforcement officer that does back them up on a valid complaint. That's important too. So
the sportsman, if you're harassed out there and you got it on video, don't think that you're the first ones that's been harassed. There's probably
exactly,
been 30 or 40 more guys over a period of a month every day, twice a day. Somebody's went through there fishing that dock or cruising down the bank on their kayak and had someone go out throw rocks at them or yell at them or
yeah,
cause an issue. If you got it on recording, contact your local DNR or state trooper and let's resolve that issue for the next guy.
absolutely, 100%.
Anyway, that's the West Virginia Code, guys. One more time, I'm going to tell you it's chapter 22, 2A if you want to go read it, or maybe even keep a copy of it in your phone. And that's just West Virginia. Most other states have something very similar.
Mm-hmm.
So research it if you're going to go out of state and travel to fish. That way, if you're right and wrong and where you need to be right. If you're floating somewhere, like Billy and I discussed, if you're going somewhere by yourself, like I went to the Susquehanna, I put in and I went upriver and the Susquehanna was really low. I did have to get out a couple times to fix my motor because I had a mount brake on my motor and I couldn't deploy it the way I wanted to. So I had to float back down and not to avoid rocks. But if I had to get out and I touched the ground and I was near someone's property, I could have been trespassing if they wanted to really be hard about it. So
Oh, a little footnote on that too, John. I do know, at least I was told, that a landowner who is actually whatever boundaries they have on their stream beds, okay, that added to their acreage or whatever, that they could actually have that exempted from their property tax because of the ability for navigation through it. And
yeah,
that was in some counties. I know that works. I don't know if all counties it works.
yeah.
So
I mean, it's usability or something, or I know we were talking about that offline before.
exactly, exactly.
So
I mean, what
yeah,
use are they going to be able to use the waterbed? Right?
right.
You can't dam the stream.
No,
You can't do anything. You can't dredge the stream without permits from the lands and waters. So yeah, it's like property that is unusable that should be exempt from their taxes.
well, hey, Bill, we've spent almost an hour here talking about this. I really appreciate you taking your afternoon out to jump on. Um, so we're gonna.
Brother, I appreciate you having me. Thank you. It was enjoyable. I wish we'd have got some of the other guys. I thought we were going to have some, but I don't. Who knows? You know what did they get into? How busy are they? What have you? So, but I'm
Hey,
glad to be here.
well, a couple old crusty law enforcement officers. I don't think we're too far out removed. Not a lot has changed since we've left. Maybe a
Yes,
few updated codes, but
yes.
most of these codes are really old that we've reviewed, and hopefully, and anyway, it it's
You know
all about
that's
interpretation by the judges nowadays. So
that's a valid point, John. And I would say to your listeners, make sure that you are up to date on what CSR, Code of State Regulation, or state code is currently in effect. Don't just take it because 6 years ago it was this way. It could have changed in ten
oh yeah,
years. Right? So
they get amended every year. That's why we, as law enforcement officers, had to go to in-service to get updated on what was changed by the legislator.
that's exactly what in service was for. Yes, sir.
Hey, brother, thank you again for your time. God bless you, and I'll shoot this up here shortly after I review it. You'll be able to watch it online.
Yeah, thank you. And John, I'm a kayak fisherman too. I love it. I don't know that I don't do the tournaments that you and your wife does, but I kayak fish the South Branch and the Greenbrier and the New and the Elk, and every now and then Summersville Lake. But I'm a river fisherman. I like to do it.
Yeah,
So
that's
holler
that's
someday
us.
if you want to go at it. All right.
Let's do it, man. Let's plan it.
All right.
I've got everything packed up, but I keep thinking about I want to make a trip down to Santee Cooper here
Oh
uh,
yeah, down
before
South Carolina. Huh?
yeah, before it gets too cold. Maybe catch them big fat girls down there wanting to feed up before the
I
the
know.
January.
I'm wanting to go up to Erie and get a couple walleye before it ends. But we'll see.
That sounds really good too.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Hey, Billy, I appreciate you, brother. God bless you. Thank you again.
Hey, bless you, brother. Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, guys, that was Bill Persinger, former captain of the West Virginia DNR, retired major or lieutenant colonel from the United States Air Force, West Virginia Guard member. Uh, Great gentleman. He got over 40 years of public service experience for us, and I want to thank him for coming online with me today. Appreciate you guys. Again, look for my next episode next week. We're going to do a Halloween trick or treat. This will be my 5th year doing my Scream-A-Ween trick or treat special. Um, there will be no masks this year. I'm not going to use anything like that, but So watch for that. I also got an episode coming up with our Ultimate Fighter champion up north, Adam Milstead, and former national champion Matt Ball. Waiting to see if Jody Queen's going to come on, but we're going to talk about fall fishing and some techniques. That'll be early November. Also, I'll have my veteran salute for all the veterans anglers out there, kayak anglers. We'll add you all to that. Anybody new that's a kayak angler, all you need to do is send me a picture of you in uniform and a picture of you on your kayak, and I'll add you to that salute. All right, we're going to shut down. Be blessed. Always remember, it's the weather temperatures are dropping, water temperatures are dropping. Make sure you're wearing the appropriate gear. If you go overboard, and always wear your PFD. Too many lives have been lost this year. We don't want you to be the next one. Be blessed, stay safe. Hey, and I'm going to show you something here that I got planned for next year. I've been working with this, and all that AI stuff out there. Well, I created an AI song for the Rusty Hook, and I threw a quick video together for the 40 seconds. I may make this my intro for next year. You guys let me know what you think. Here we go. This one.
Rolling out strong with the Rusty Hook crew. It's Big Daddy John Rapp bringing the truth to you. KAYAK Fishing Warriors, we ride the waves. Tournament tails repping the way that we play. Jackhammers pounding, testing our skill. Net rig slaying, getting our thrill. Tackle tips sharper than the blades in the game. We're all in this together, always chasing that bang. Rusty Hook podcast, let's break the mold. Fishing straight talk, let the stories unfold. On the riverbanks to the ocean wide. In the world of the kayak, we take pride. We take pride.
You may have seen a version of that up on the page already, but I'm going to play with that, trying to make it more of a music video type feel. Get some jam. I got a great jam here, so I just got to get some good video slices to throw together and work with that. So you guys take care, be safe, and we'll catch you again soon.
Thank you for tuning in to the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. We hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget, for future shows, like, follow, share, and hit that subscribe button. Make sure you check out our individual channels and accounts too. Want to be a guest on one of our shows and talk about adventures, gear, or products? Contact us. Thank you for watching the Chasing the Tide with Dustin Nichols, the Rusty Hook with John Rapp, the River Run with Adam Fraser Cross, the Real Backwaters with Daniel Whitcock, Chasing the 20s with Carlisle Esterly and Sean Lavery. Thanks for tuning into the Paddle and Fin Network. Subscribe and always wear your PFD.